I've played every Hoyoverse game, and one beats the rest by a landslide. You read the title, you know what it is. Honkai Star Rail. Honkai Star Rail is the best Hoyo game on the market, but it's not for the reason you're thinking of. I don't want everyone to think I'm Honkai's biggest meat writer, so I'll start off with everything I don't like about Star Rail first. Sorting through relics. I'm sure you all know that relics are items with randomly generated stats that can be equipped to your characters. As you play through the game, you're gonna get a shit ton of these, and best believe most of them are gonna have shit rolls. Eventually, for one reason or another, you're going to have to sort through all of the bad ones and either delete them or use them for XP. And honestly, this is what I hate most about the game, because there have been times where I've spent up to 2 hours sorting through these artifacts. It's just one big headache. The other thing I don't like is that you can't get all the characters you want free to play. And you're probably like, no shit, dipshit, it's a gacha game. Yeah, I know it's a gacha game, but I think we can all agree that having to skip a character that you really want sucks. This game can get you to spend hundreds of dollars on it. When I was still in high school, I spent a total of $800 on Genshin when I was only making $300 every 2 weeks at the time. I even tricked my mom into giving me $60 thinking I was gonna buy a new game, but I just spent it on Genshin Impact. It sucks, and a lot of people are gonna spend no matter what, whether it be for the characters, the Welkin, or the Battle Pass. But if you are one of these frequent spenders, there are some tools to help you save money, like lootbar GG. Lootbar is a platform that lets you buy stellar jades cheaper than what they're going for in game. You can use it to buy stellar jades and even the express supply pass. For example, the original price for 4,000 stellar jades is $50. You can take 20% off and it's only $42.44, which saves you $7.55. They do this by leveraging favorable exchange rates. The purchasing process is safe, secure, and simple, and has a very high rating on Trustpilot. You can go see yourself and look at all of the reviews. Once you find what you want to buy, all you have to do is enter your UID and hit purchase. And as you can see, just a few moments later, the stellar jades will hit your account. It's pretty quick. Lootbar also works with other big gacha games like ZZZ and Genshin Impact. They support international payments, and you can get products up to 20% cheaper than they are in game. And you can get an extra 5% off by clicking the link in my description. Alright, so before I get into my main point on why Star Rail is the best Hoyo game, I need to tell you why it's just a good game in general. When I say Star Rail is the best Hoyo game, most people would think it's because it's fun or the gameplay is really good. But I don't think those things are what make Star Rail the best. But my main point couldn't stand if Star Rail already wasn't just a good base game. The first thing I want to talk about was, despite it being turn-based, it's fun. A lot of people were put off by the game being turn-based when they heard about it. I also didn't like turn-based games going into it, and I feel like that was the case for most people. But we were all pleasantly surprised to find out that the game was really fun. I really don't know how to explain why, but the core gameplay is very enjoyable. If you're one of those people who don't want to play it just because it's turn-based, I highly recommend you just give it a try. There's also lots of content. You have quests, exploration, events, and in-game content. There's so much stuff to do that I would have to play a good amount of hours every day for like a month just to finish it all. On top of that, the devs actually listen. To my knowledge, every complaint the community has had about the game has been addressed. To give you a recent example, players were complaining about how tedious Simulated Universe was and how it was a pain to grind planar sets. So the devs simplified the process and made it easier to grind the sets. They're also very generous with the rewards, at least compared to Genshin. We get a free 10 pull every patch, and they even gave us a whole ass free limited 5-star, which is crazy, by the way. That actually blew my mind. Last thing before I get into my main point, you can play it as a side game. With the auto battle feature, you can easily play this game on the side. You can put on an auto battle and do something else, or even play another game. And Star Rail is probably the easiest Hoyo game to play on mobile, which makes it even better. And you may be thinking, sure, all of these things make Star Rail a good game, but do they really make Star Rail better than the other games? Which brings me to my best and final point for why Star Rail is the best Hoyo game. It's a side game, and it doesn't punish you for taking a break. It has nowhere as much FOMO as the other games. It feels really good to get back into Star Rail after you take a break. Here's some reasons why. The Blaze Powder Reserve. Blaze Powder slowly regenerates over time and caps out at a certain number. forcing you to get on every day out of fear of capping out. And this artificially controls how much progress you can make at a time. But with the blaze powder reserves, you can step away from the game without feeling like you're too far behind. When you overcap on blaze powder, the extra blaze powder goes into your reserves so you can use it later. And the reserves cap out at 2,400, which is a lot of blaze powder to come back to. The reserve system gives you a lot of options when you come back from a long break, and it helps you catch up with raising your characters. It's still more efficient not to let your resin overcap because it'll start regenerating slower if it does. But I think the best thing about the reserve system is that it reserves some of the FOMO and pressure to spin your blaze powder every day. I think the main thing that makes this so special is that Star Rail is the only big gacha game to have this feature. Alright, now my second reason is permanent events. The addition of permanent events ensures that there's always something fun to do after coming back from a long break, and it also relieves FOMO when these events are out for the first time. This is one of my favorite features in the game because I just have a whole backlog of permanent events to do whenever I get bored, and just like the Trailblaze Reserves feature, Star Rail is the only big game to have this. And on top of that, we have the welcome back rewards, which gives you things to do for rewards and gives you a daily login bonus. This feature isn't exclusive to Star Rail, but it's one more thing that makes coming back to Star Rail so great. Some people say that they're too overwhelmed when there's like too much stuff to do and they don't like falling behind. And to be honest, that's something I never really understood. Like, would you rather have too much content to do or no content at all? The only thing that's kind of a pain for me is trying to figure out what I was spending my resin on the last time I was on the game. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is I think the main thing that puts Star Rail above the rest is that it's respectful of your time. Most gacha games are designed to pull you in and keep you playing. They try to trap players in a loop of playing every day. They want you to keep playing even if there's nothing to play. This is the main reason Giga stopped playing Genshin Impact. He said it started to feel like a part-time job of hopping on and doing dailies. Star Rail gets rid of some of the typical FOMO aspects in gacha games, making it easier to step away and rewarding you when you come back. 2.4 is looking like a slow patch, so now might be a good time to take a break from the game. Or if you haven't been on the game for a while, now might be a good time to come back to the game. Either one is a good decision. And with the auto battle feature, you can have the game playing in the background while you do other tasks. This game is so passive that I can and I have played on the clock. Comparing Star Rail to the other games, Honkai Impact is fun, but it just feels way too grindy. And it not having an English dub makes it harder to get into the story. Genshin Impact is peak gaming for like the first year, but it falls off tremendously hard once you run out of stuff to do. It would still be the best game if they just implemented permanent events and more in-game content like Star Rail. ZZZ just came out, and for me personally, it's just not as fun as the other games. I still think it's a good game, it's just not great. Star Rail is a great game because it's fun, has lots of content, and you can play whenever you want, however you want. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you've made it this far, then you'll probably enjoy my future videos, which means you might as well subscribe.